Left side of the room.
Zach Osterman, USA Today. Coach, I think you're the only national champion in the last 20 years to come back from a 9-point or more deficit in each of the Elite Eight, the Final Four of the national championship. How did you watch your team navigate those moments, whether it was in huddles, whether it was little moments, picking each other up, kind of just pulling through each of those sort of, if you want to call them comebacks, each of those sort of stressful sort of stretches?
Our guys have been really good all year, staying the course. And, in this tournament, especially after the first round, every team you play is going to be really, really, really good. And you have to have the mental toughness to be able to withstand a little adversity. We played an incredible UConn team that was used to winning in the second round, had to get through that one. And obviously Texas Tech, great program, had to find a way to come back and beat them. And obviously Auburn, the best team in America most of the year in the semifinals. So, there's going to be times of adversity trying to fight back in those games. Those are all great teams. Obviously Houston, just a class act, amazing program, Hall of Fame head coach, super, super tough student athletes. And our guys knew that it wasn't going to be easy and didn't panic when it got tough. And as Will talked about, they did a great job of never getting too high, never getting too low. When we went down 12 in the second half, we stayed the course. We didn't point fingers. We didn't try to start making hero plays. We didn't start gambling defensively. And we got rewarded because of that toughness that we displayed.
On the right side, Kevin.
Yeah, Kevin Brockway, Angel Sun. Yeah, just talk a little bit about that as well, the toughness that you guys showed throughout the game and being physical with a physical Houston team and the ability to get those stops down the stretch. I believe you held them scoreless in the final 229. What went into that in terms of your guys' resolve defensively?
We've gotten a lot of credit for our offense because we've been so explosive all year and been one of, if not the top 2 offenses in America all year. But we've been a top 10 defense all year also. And we've been able to stand up against really good offensive teams and find a way to get stops. I thought Houston got the better of us in the first half, but it was really just a disparity in the turnover count. We had 9. I think they had 2 in the first half. And as I look here, we had 4 in the second, and they had 7. And our defense won us the game tonight. We got 9 straight stops at one point in the middle of the second half. To your point, we held them scoreless the last 220. And Walter, great closeout, and Kondo, great hustle play to win the game. And that's what made this team special all year, is that we could win different ways, and we showed that again tonight.
On the left side up front, Edgar.
Yeah, Todd, youngest coach since this went to 64 teams to ever win a national title. I mean, what's that mean to you to do that? And Billy Donovan was the youngest before you.
I'm super proud, obviously, but I'm just a piece of this puzzle. I've been able to put together an incredible staff and recruit great student athletes over these last 3 years, and we've stayed the course all year and worked really hard. And my best answer is I'm just really proud. I'm proud to be the head coach of Florida. I'm proud of the way our players performed, and I'm proud of the way our staff prepared our guys to become national champions.
Second row center.
As you're Adi Joseph, CBS, as you're thinking in your head toward the end of the game how the end of this game is going to look, there's no way you could have imagined 4 Houston turnovers in 1 minute and 20 seconds.
Yeah.
Is that something that you were trying to scheme up? Is that something that surprised you in their execution? And I guess, what did also a follow-up of a question that was asked of a couple people, what did you think when that ball was just loose?
Well, down the stretch, we just made some big-time winning plays defensively. It's all kind of cloudy and a blur, but the one that sticks out is when I believe it was Sharp drove right off the right lane line, and Will was guarding somebody in the corner, and he stripped and ripped right off his leg with about 1:10 or a minute to go. That was a huge play for us. And then the last play was just absolutely an amazing play. Walt recovered, closed out. As he said, flew by his right side to not allow himself to foul. Sharp made a heady, he understood he couldn't touch the ball or else it would have been a turnover. And then Kondo, did what he does a lot, which is get physical, dive on the floor, make a winning play, getting on that loose ball. And I think there was 18 seconds or so on that last possession. We guarded him hard, and I saw the ball loose, and I was just hoping that we beat him to the ball. And when Kondo got on the floor, I figured it was either going to be a jump ball or we were going to come away with it. And then the next thing I knew, the game was over. So just an incredible moment and, something I won't forget.
On the right side.
Hey, Coach. Joel Morris, Alamo City Hoops. Obviously, tough start for Elijah and Walter in the beginning of the game, but down the stretch, they came out big. Elijah with free throws, Walter hitting big threes to tie it. What was some of the messages and just kind of like the teammates and the coaching staff giving those guys so they can stay confident, maybe even in the locker room as well? What was just some of the messages?
Yeah, our team's resolve and DNA, we don't have to give those guys confidence. You know what I mean? Like Walter Clayton, he's confident. Elijah Martin, confident. Houston's a great team. So we knew it wasn't going to be easy. And, the message at halftime was we have to take better care of the basketball, but we got to, continue to stay aggressive and attack. And, for the first 5 or 6 minutes I think actually the first 8 minutes of the second half, they still made life really hard on Walt, and when he came out, I thought Zell stepped up, gave us great minutes. We were able to come back a little bit in that time, get Walt some rest so we could finish. It wasn't, we didn't have to pump those guys up. It was more just like, hey, let's just get back to being ourselves and do what we do. At this point in the season, they don't need those words of encouragement. Like it's kind of embedded in our DNA, and they did what they always do. They stepped up. Elijah hit those big free throws. I thought he guarded really well all night. I thought Walter's defense in the second half was great, and they just found a way to win the ball game.
Up front on the right, Brett.
Todd, yesterday we talked about how this game was going to be a clash of styles.
Yeah.
And this game was pretty much played at Houston's style and their pace. How concerned were you as this was going on about that, and what did you do to overcome it?
I was definitely concerned. They were dictating the tempo, and we wanted to get out in transition, and we were not able to, especially in the first half. I don't think we have any fast break points. And, when we're at our best, we're getting stops, clean rebounds, and we're getting out and run in transition and finding baskets. So, that was concerning. But in the first at halftime, just looking at the numbers, the only thing that really stood out that was a big issue was our turnovers. And I thought we had some uncharacteristic turnovers. I thought some of those, majority of those 9 turnovers were not forced. They were just, either poor decisions or being sped up offensively. And, we just needed to kind of calm down. Obviously, Houston's the best defensive team in America by the numbers, and we knew it wasn't going to be easy to score on them. We still weren't able to get up and down too much in the second half, but we scored 37. We were able to knock down our free throws, and we just took much better care of the basketball.
On the left side, Chris.
Chris Harry, FloridaGators.com. Congratulations, Todd.
Thank you, Chris.
The being down to Houston 12 some might say would be like being down 15 or 16 to other teams. Are you at some point just saying something good has to happen? Walter Clayton's not scoring. Are you just saying we need to string stops together? I mean, what is the mentality as the players are talking to each other during these timeouts at that time?
Yeah, I mean, the biggest thing from my perspective was I just didn't feel like we had much control of the game. I thought Houston was controlling tempo. I thought they were controlling with their physicality. There was an interesting technical call on our bench that I thought, was an issue we had to battle through. And it was our defense. It was stops. It was finding a way to be able to get some runouts. And as we talked about, we didn't get a lot of transition, but we were able to break and get a couple. And, Walt saw the ball go through the net with some free throws and that and one layup, and I thought that loosened him up a little bit. And after that, we were starting to get some good stuff, and we were starting to hit some shots and, get downhill and get to the foul line. And we were able to flip the game and the momentum a little bit. And obviously incredibly challenging to do against an opponent like Houston, but, we're pretty dang good also, and we found a way to do it.
We want to thank Coach Golden, head coach of the 2025 national champion, Florida Gators.
Sounds pretty good. Thank y'all.